Welcome everybody to National Women's History Month. I'm so excited for all of you to be here today to celebrate International Women's Day with all of us. So, for all of you who are here today, we have an amazing panel of speakers lined up. And so before we begin, let me go ahead and talk to you a little bit about our international, I'm sorry, not International Women's Day, but our National Women's History Month here at Pepperdine. We are celebrating National Women's History Month throughout the month of March. So today is our second event that we are hosting virtually on Zoom. And so thank you again for all of you being here. We will be having an in-person event next week, next Saturday, in fact, from 11:30 in the morning till 1:30 in the afternoon. It's going to be dancing that it brings inclusivity, so inspires inclusivity. And I'm excited because I'm going to have three of my friends who will be here on campus, room 333, 334. Again, I'm going to send out the flyers to everybody afterwards, and I'll show you guys the flyer afterwards as well. So we're going to be having each of the wonderful women that are going to be coming are going to showcase they're going to go ahead and showcase to us their dances. We're going to have belly dancing, we're going to have Bollywood dancing, we're going to have Latin dancing, and we're going to have food. There will be lunch, will be served, and it is going to be in room 333, 334 in the West LA campus. So we're excited. Please come. Please let's celebrate National Women's History Month together. Okay. All right. I would like to also introduce the center to all of you. So for those of you that do not know the Center for Global Partnerships and Learning, the Center for Global Partnerships and Learning, we're hosting this event in association with Pepperdine University's Graduate School of Education and Psychology. So with that said, what we're doing is hosting these different events every month. Anytime there is a special month, we do make sure that we want to honor that by having different virtual events and in-person events. And so the center is known for that. Our center is also known for the Scholarship Without Borders Journal. If any of you want to get published, please do so and get published. It is the best journal for you right now to get started in. Get yourselves published. If you have a publication that you would like to submit, you can go ahead and send an email out to Dr. Maria Brame, Dr. Maria Brame, Dr. Gabriela Miramontes, or Charlotta Green. They're the ones that are in charge of the journal. We also do have certifications. We do have a certificate coming up for DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. If you would like to know more about that, please send an email out to Dr. Miramontes. I will also see if I can share that flyer with all of you before we end today. And also, we do have other certificate programs that we are offering. We have the Women Empowerment Program coming up. We have Dr. Sandra Rice right here, one of our panelists. She has her Executive Wellbeing and Leadership Certificate coming up in April on campus, West LA campus. I believe April 19th and the 20th, right? Yes. So if you are interested, we will get that put in the chat you can go, we'll put the link in the chat so you can go ahead and sign up and be a part of that 2-day executive leadership program here on campus. And with that said, we do have our podcast, Elevating Voices of Leadership. If you would like to be on our podcast, please come. Let me know. I'm helping to manage the podcast. So let me know. We'll put in my email address in the chat if you do want to be on the podcast. We want our students and alumni to really come in and join us. Please do so that we can feature you on the podcast. And then once the episode's uploaded, I will let you know. And I think that's about it for the center. I mean, we do have other workshops and things of that nature, but I wanted to highlight these areas for the center for all of you. Now, I would like to welcome our panelists for today. So our panelists today are Jennifer Banegas, Inva Lumi, Lucy Liu, Monique Lumas-Wright, Catherine Reyes, Dr. Sandra Rice-Hardy, and Ash Ivar de Alcaraz. We do have another panelist, Shata Al-Qad, who should be showing up shortly. And so when she does, we'll have her introduce herself. With that said, let's get started. So actually, I want all of my panelists here. I want to give everybody about 30 to 40 seconds, starting with Jennifer and then kind of going around where I can see all of you on Zoom. Please introduce yourself to all of us. Let us know who you are and how fabulous you are.
Hello, everyone, and happy International Women's Day. It's so great to see everyone and be on this wonderful panel of like-minded individuals. My name is Jennifer Benegas, and I am a doctoral student in the Educational Leadership Program here at Pepperdine. I'm a school psychologist by trade, and I'm also an adjunct professor at Pepperdine as well. I'm a mother of 3 grown children. I think one is here today. My son, who lives in Chandler, and a wife and a puppy mom, and all those kinds of different things. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're next.
Well, hello, and good evening, everybody, from wherever you're joining us. I am Inva Lumi, a doctoral student at Pepperdine University, and also the enrollment officer for all the doctoral educational program, just a new position for me. So whenever you have any questions, I'm here. I am a mother, a puppy mom. I have 3 children. They're all grown up in college, thank God. I am a women's rights advocate, and I do have a nonprofit, which does help pay for women to go to college. And I am a wife, and I have a supportive husband, which gives me the time to actually do what I love to do, which is to support women, to elevate them, and to help them be where they need to be, which is in leadership positions. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Happy International Women's Day and happy Friday. My name is Ilu. I also go by Lucy. I'm a 5th-year PhD student at Pepperdine Grad School of Education and Psychology, working on my dissertation right now, so it's the final stretch. Also, I work as a instructional designer for GSEP. Within the leadership and the Dr. Miyake Trapp Alliance and the Learning Design and Technology team. It's my honor to be here, and I'm excited to learn from you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique.
Hi, happy International Women's Day to all the panelists and the people that we have joining us today. Thank you so much for being here so we can all celebrate this monumentous day together. I am a 4th year doctoral student for the PhD program. Along with Lucy, I am crawling to the finish line in my dissertation process and hoping to be able to join the commencement ceremony in May. I work in philanthropy for a private foundation that really does try to work to elevating, poverty and helping to improve the lives of vulnerable people worldwide. And as many women, wear many hats as a mother, a professional, a student, a wife, and a friend and daughter. And so again, just happy to be here, and I'll pass it over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I go by Kat. I'm from Los Angeles, and I am finishing up my 2nd semester in the doctoral program. A little bit of my background: I'm currently working for a nonprofit, primarily veteran focused student population school that focuses in 2 programs. And I have worked in higher ed, student support, student-facing environment for the last decade.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Sandra.
Hello, everyone, and happy Women's Day. What a powerful day it is for all of us to celebrate. We welcome all of our guests, and to my esteemed panelists and colleagues. I'm so happy to be with you today and honored to be with you. Thank you, Dr. Ghazi, for trusting and your trust in us. I'm really excited to be here. So I am across the finish line, ladies. I have graduated from Pepperdine, received my doctorate, And so it's going to happen soon. You're going to feel that relief. Just don't worry about it. So we're here to cheer you on. But I received my doctorate in organizational leadership. I am so glad. They said, did you receive the $1 million degree? And I say I received the $10 million degree, because I am like making things happen in the world and really encouraging other women and leaders to make things happen in the world, because so many of us are so fabulous and we're doing so many things. A lot of my work is around self-care for leaders and psychological well-being. And thus, as Dr. Ghazi said, we have a program coming up April 19th and 20th at Pepperdine at the West LA campus. It's a leadership certificate program, and it's going to be fabulous. We did it last year, and I'm telling you, the participants they are making it happen in the world. And so we want to invite you to come. It's a place of fun, healing. It's a place where you can get away and really design the next level for your life. So I am a wife, I'm a mother. I juggle a lot of things. I am also a pastor's wife. My husband is a pastor. So I travel the world extensively, speaking and doing amazing things like that, and designing programs. I'm also a consultant for leaders and a real estate development. That's my like first job years ago. But I've been in the real estate and construction industry for about 30 years. And we've done probably in my company from start to finish, from zero to about 500 million in construction. So still doing that, still loving that, but now really focus on leaders and women empowerment. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Sandra. Before I go to Ash, I just want to point out, you said the $1 million degree, and I was just talking to one of the students I've been helping with her comps exam today, and she mentioned the $1 million degree, and she said, Dr. Majidi said this is a $1 million degree, right? And I wanted to say that for all of us, yes, 10 million is actually great, because
10.
Yeah, because
That's actually I talked to Dr. Or Dean Majidi maybe like a year and a half ago. And I said, yeah, I'm doing great. I got my $1 million. He said, no, Sandra, actually, he's the one who said 10 million for me. So I upped my game.
Okay. So we need to all up our game, you guys. We got to up our game. So here's the thing. I love what you just said. So I wanted to kind of put that out there, because we were just talking about that today. And I said, this degree is costing us $500,000 student loans. We need to be making more than $1 million to pay that off. So
that's right.
And
we can do it. We can do it, and we will.
We will. Exactly. We all deserve that 1 million plus or 10 million plus. I would say, let's just say 20 million out there.
Let's say 20.
All right. So thank you so much. And Ash.
Hello. Yes, I fully agree. And let's say 20. Let's go for the 20 million. So hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be on a panel with all folks. I'm already learning so much in the introductions of folks. But yes, my name is Aasiyah Ghazi, and I am in my second semester at Pepperdine's doctoral program. My background, I've been in the career counseling coaching space for about 10 years, fully focused on career development, and currently I serve as a career team lead at an ed tech startup, mostly focused on supporting folks in the mid-level to C-suite, so working with women and getting them into that C-suite spot and really helping them get promoted, and all the things is a huge focus of mine, so I'm very excited to be here. That's a little bit about myself.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that to all of us. I realized I didn't introduce myself to everybody. I am Dr. Aasiyah Ghazi. I am not only moderating here, but I'm also creating the other events for our National Women's Day and other events coming up. I work with the center with Dr. Gabby, Dr. Brahme, Swellen, Charlotta, and our wonderful team. Aside from that, I do real estate on the side. So if any of you are looking to buy a house in California, let me know. And I do have my own leadership training institute. So I do offer, I have my own certification programs I offer and so forth. Along with what I do is I also have a podcast called Amplify Your Potential. So if any of you want to listen to my podcast, we'll put the link in the chat later, and you all can sign up. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. Oh, and I'm also working a second doctorate here. I'm doing my PhD. So yes, everyone's asking why are you doing this again? And I'm like, why not? Why not? It's a 2-for-1 special. I joke about that with DMGD. I'm like, it's a 2-for-1 special. Okay, great. So I am here getting a PhD done, and I'm in my dissertation phase right now. So, and my last dissertation was on imposter syndrome, overcoming imposter syndrome, and my dissertation for this one is going to be on talent acquisition. So you will hear more from me. And with that said, I'm so glad to have all of you here today and our panelists. It is great to get to know all of you, and we're ready to get started. So the first question I would like to ask for all of our panelists is, and any of you can jump in at any time, okay, panelists, feel free to unmute and jump in when you want to. The first question is, what does inspiring inclusivity mean to you? What does inspiring inclusivity mean to you?
Okay, I can go start it. Like for me, I just feel like it's being heard and being seen in the working environment, in the professional journey that you're on. So that is what it means to me.
I love it.
I would say,
go ahead.
thank you. I would say start working at Pepperdine. That is absolutely, the culture here is absolutely that. You are heard, you're valued, you are empowered, you're involved. That's what it means to me. Thank you.
Nice. I love it. Okay, so Jennifer.
I want to piggyback on that. I really feel that it's important for that respect to be there, but also that value, right? And feeling valued, not just in the workplace, but whether it's in school or even at home with family, just really feeling valued and that you belong.
I love that, feeling valued and that you belong. And there's that, we have to have the sense of belonging, which I feel like it's still missing. We're still missing that sense of belonging in the workplace, in the in our communities. We need to build on that. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. But Monique,
I can jump in.
Yes, go for it.
Speaking a sense of belonging, so inspiring inclusivity, I would think would require some empathy, openness, and willingness to listen, as a way to dismantle those barriers and the inner biases that we might come into spaces with.
Nice. And Monique?
Sure, I'll jump in. Also ensuring, others are seen and heard, making spaces for individuals to share, to heal, to use their voice, to have access to opportunities and resources to thrive, regardless of circumstance or economic or social status. I was going to say, for me, it also means like continuing, the legacy of those that sacrificed and dedicated, their lives to bring humanity forward. Honoring those voices of the past and creating pathways and opportunities by using that momentum really to keep the flight to move onward and ensure individuals have the ability to obtain equity.
I love it. Thank you. And Dr. Sandra?
Yeah, I love what Monique said about the, really honoring our legacy and the shoulders that we all stand on. And I think with that, I would add even honoring ourselves, being worthy of being included. I love your work, Dr. Ghazi, on imposter syndrome, because none of us are imposters. Even though you may feel it, things may happen, challenges, disappointments, failures. We are worthy of where we stand. We are worthy of what our callings in the world. And I think that to me inspires and inclusivity, because you have to start with yourself first and then build on that legacy as well. So I say we are worthy to be included.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I love it. Thank you. Ash, did you already?
No, I can add to that as well, but I really love that honoring ourselves. I think it's one, oftentimes as leaders, it's always what can we do for others? How can we create space for others? And we forget about ourselves, even though we're very much going through the process of like, how am I good? Am I good? But yeah, I think I kept hearing a lot of creating space and feeling valued and honoring those things. So I agree. I do think inclusivity to me really means creating a space where folks feel important, they feel heard, they feel empowered and supported, but really also just like taking that step as an individual and someone in a space to acknowledge that there's a lot of richness and diversity and wanting to participate and learn from that. I think creates a space of safety and respect that super invaluable. So I think that to me, that's what inclusivity means for sure.
I love it. You're all so inspiring just listening to what all of you said, and I love it. I love it. So that really takes me into the next question for all of you, which is this. Are there any women in history that you admire? If so, please tell us about those women and their impact on your life. What I'm also doing is I'm also putting the questions in the chat for everybody else to see. And I'll repeat it. Are there any women in history that you admire? If so, please tell us about those women and their impact on your life. Anyone feel free to unmute.
I can
I
go.
can start. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jennifer. Please do.
doing that.
I went last time. You go this time.
Okay, I'll go first this time. I love, I know someone just spoke about the past, right? And really honoring those of the past. And the first person that comes to mind when I think about this is my grandmother. She really taught me to be strong and to stand up for others. She always had her door open and welcomed others in. And that's what we are as women, right? We're always wanting to, just like Ash said, help others and bring others along. And I think that's the biggest piece, because there's sometimes where us women don't do that. We're not our biggest cheerleaders. And sometimes we're not our biggest cheerleaders for ourselves, but even with others. And I want to dismantle that, and I think by looking at the past and seeing how others have done it, really mirroring those strong sense of will. And I do want to speak to my grandmother, but and also my mother. And my mom she's just phenomenal. But looking at those heroes of mine, of my family members.
Inva, I know you wanted to go. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you. I would like to say my mother first. She's been the biggest advocate for me. She believed in me when I didn't believe about myself. And that was like the biggest thing. And at 25, I had an epiphany and I wrote her a letter saying, thank you. You saved my life, for really being the constant supporter in my life. She, for the last 27 years, she just been paying for people to go to college. And I kind of took over the last 10 years. And I brought it in, and now it's only for women, which helps pay for women to go to college. And I call it Wow Men, which is the wow in every woman, and that happens through education. Looking wider, it's Mother Teresa. She's Albanian, and I am Albanian. I mean, she really fought for women, for education, for helping women everywhere. Angela Merkel, I would say, she's like very, very strong woman. And then Jacinda, she was the first prime minister of New Zealand, the first woman, kind of like the first woman to really take on roles that were meant for men and kind of like decided by men, but they were so strong and their conviction that they went for it. Another one is I might say the name wrong, is Sojourner Truth, the one who said anti-woman, right? She was a woman, abolition, women's rights, and she did so much for women. And these are some of the women that really help me, support me, but also the women that paved the way. And I feel like us being here together, not only the panelists, but the guests, we're a link. And we are like passing the baton, and we're helping women just come together and hold each other accountable, but also help each other. So yes, thank you.
I love it. I agree with everything that you just said too. And I love that you guys are all talking about like I keep saying you guys, I need to stop that. All of you beautiful women in our panel, like you're all saying grandma and mom. And I love that because I think that is so amazing. That the first and foremost person that comes in our life is our mom. Because I was thinking the same thing as you all were saying. It was like, for me, the first woman that inspires me is my own mother, and her passing away last year was a big impact in my life, but she taught me so many things that I continue to hold on to each and every day. And so I love that that you're saying mom, and grandma, and all these women. You said Sojourner Truth correctly though. I wanted to say something. Sojourner Truth. Think about her name for a moment. Sojourner, journey to the truth, right? I love that. Okay. Who else wants to answer this question?
I can go next. Oh, sorry. um, yes, I agree. Like our family members are definitely our role models, and for that I second it. Like my mom in my life, she taught me how to respect others. Like she treat me equally. Like she will have a like one-on-one talk, even when I was in my teenage. So with her open-minded and support, like that's how I make this far so far. So I'm so grateful for my mom. And another female image I want to mention is the RBG Ginsburg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I just finished her audiobook, like her biography audiobook recently. And what really resonated with me is that she said she is one of the image or the icon that so many women can look for. And she empowered so many people and make them to believe that they can do what they want and they can make it happen, right? Like when she first came to the Supreme Court, there even not a female restroom there. So like how far we have been so since then. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, you're right. Look at how far we've come.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Kat?
I'm gonna go a different route here and take a step back from the family impact and go with a few other women who have influenced, starting with Frances Willard. And this will kind of tie into what I want to be when I grow up, is what I like to say. Frances Willard was the first female college president in 1871 at Evanston College for ladies in Illinois, is what the program was called. And then Willa Player, which in the fall of 1956, she was born in Mississippi, Jackson. She was the first inaugurated president of Bennett College and the first African American woman to do so. And lastly, Juliet Garcia, which it says here, 1986, Texas Southernmost College. She became the first Mexican American female to be the head of U.S. college and university in July of 2022. So just made history 2 years ago for that.
Kat, I think you and Inva need to hook up. Because Inva's study. Inva, can you talk about it really quickly?
I was taking notes when everyone was talking about their introductions. I'm like, these are good folks to connect with.
Right. Yeah, Inva, tell us about your study really quick.
Oh, yes. So I am doing currently legislative law for women's rights. The law would admit women to be leaders in all facets and at least to have 50-50 boardroom.
Yes. Like, as I'm saying, all of you here on the panel, please connect with each other after this is over. You all have so many amazing things and so much in common, and there's so much being discussed. You have to all connect. Thank you everybody for answering. Dr. Sandra, Monique, Ash, would the three of you like to answer?
Sure, I'll jump in. I will first acknowledge my beautiful mother because she's actually on this webinar right now supporting me. So there's no way I would not give her a shout out. I'm very grateful. She's my shiro. She is just the best friend anyone could ask for, and also the best example, role model, and just loving thought partner. So grateful for her influence. When I look at this question and think about history, for me, reading books was always a very transformative, experience. And so I really look to writers that have influenced my way of thinking and the trajectory of my life. And so particularly stories of, courage and strength and resilience, women writers who have looked at their storytelling of their life's journey, through poetry. And so I definitely would call out Dr. Maya Angelou, who was a Pulitzer Prize, nominated poet and civil rights activist. Was very inspiring of me through my teenage years. Was really impacted by her literature and her representation of how to really embrace one's full journey, authentically and with grace. Coincidentally, I came across, a quote of hers this morning and wanted to share it. It said, "Each time a woman stands up for herself without knowing it, possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women." And it's like through that voice, through that expression, she gives us permission really to do the same. Also, Harriet Jacobs was I think she was the first African-American woman to really speak about her incidents of slavery. She wrote under like a fake name, an autobiography, incidents in the life of a slave girl in 1861. And I remember having to play her character in English course in high school. And that really was very transformative for me, just putting myself in a time and place that I couldn't even fathom. And so admiring her strength and tenacious spirit and individuality, having the courage to use the power of voice, the power of pen and storytelling, even when historically, women of color had no rights, no justice, no affirmation of the self. And to be born a slave, and just have this unbelievable heartache and injustice, and to rise from that, these stories of trailblazing women have really lived to demonstrate, I think, what it looks like to be fearless and courage and through vulnerability. So just to share those.
I love that. Thank you. If you can put that book in the chat for all of us, that would be amazing. In fact, actually, you just gave me a really great idea, and this question is not in my list, and so I will ask this question later. But it will be about a list of books, so we'll talk about that. But please put that in the chat. And also, just really quickly, a quick 2-second pause here for all of you who are here in the audience. As I ask these questions and put the questions in the chat for everybody to see, please feel free to also, put your answers in there, because as much as our panelists are speaking, I would love to see interaction from our audience as well in the chat. Just write out your answers. Let us know who's inspiring you. Let us know how you inspire inclusivity, what it means to you, and play along with us, because I think the more we're engaged, the better it is. Thank you. And Ash, I saw you putting your heart, like your hands on your heart right here when you were like listening earlier to the quote. So I would love for you to, if, kind of talk more about that, and then we're going to get to Dr. Sandra.
Yes, I'm a huge empath, so you'll see a lot of my reactions. I react a lot. But that was beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this panel so much. But yeah, I would also say I come from a huge family of majority women. Even in my direct family, it's 8 of us and 7 of us are women. So a lot of love and respect for the women in my family, my mother, my grandmothers, all of my aunts. There's so many. It's deep-rooted tribe for sure that I'm very, very grateful for. But also I growing up, I've always been like a really big poetry and philosophy buff. I love it so much. So for sure, one woman that I deeply admire is Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. She's a 17th century Mexican nun. She was also a poet and a philosopher. She wrote a lot of poetry. She wrote a lot across different essays. She wrote a lot of really amazing work. But at the time, education for women was very, very limited. She actually decided to pursue the church because she had access to the library so that she can pursue her own education. So she was someone that I thought was amazing just because she was able to consistently pursue her own intellectual pursuits while also challenging gender norms for the time, and advocating for women's rights to education. So because I'm such a fan of history and poetry and all the things, she was someone that stood out to me since I was young. But yeah, she's definitely still celebrated as a symbol of feminist resistance and intellectual courage. So someone that I admire deeply for sure.
Thank you so much. Again, if you can share all that in the chat, maybe we can also be able to read some of that, and that will be amazing. Thank you. Dr. Sandra.
Yes. I am with all of you ladies. What came to my mind was my mom and both of my grandmothers. I think, and then what Monique said as well was Dr. Maya Angelou. She read a book that I loved called Mom and Me and Mom. And it's such a poignant book in terms of what we're all talking about and how our family legacy is so important to us. But I just want to say something about my grandmother. My grandmother, I realized just a couple months ago, she passed away last summer. She was 91. But I realized in having a conversation with my mother about 2 months ago, how powerful and how courageous she was. She was the mother of 10 children. And she actually wanted to give up at some point with all those little kids. I couldn't imagine, but she actually wanted to give up. And then her mother's sister actually told her, you stay the course, you make it happen for these children. So she ended up becoming one of the first African-American nurse practitioners in the state of Texas. So she made history. And not only that, my mother became a doctor and received her PhD. And if it weren't for that, I would not have received my doctorate. So I just think about the legacy of, who she was and how courageous she was. If she had have given up, and I guess if any of our parents, I know Monique's mom is here, thank you. But if they had given up and if they had stopped and if they weren't courageous and they weren't, making it happen for us, we would not be standing and sitting here on this panel right now. So I just want to give gratitude to all our moms and grandmas and all the strong women in our lives and our families.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sandra. Thank you for that. Absolutely the truth in all of what's been said by all of our panelists here. Thank you. We are on to the next question. Are you all ready? All right. The next question is, how important have role models or mentors been in your journey? Can you share an instance where guidance from a mentor played a crucial role in your career or personal development? So again, for everybody, I put it in the chat. How important have role models or mentors been in your journey? Now, this is a really poignant question because, as you know, we don't have enough women mentors. We don't have enough women mentors or women sponsors. And depending on which field we're going into, we may not see women in those positions that we aspire to be in. When I did my study for imposter syndrome, I did it on the STEM field, women leaders in the engineering field, and for the engineering field and in most of the STEM field, we know that it's more male dominated, and so there's not enough women there, and so we're not always seeing enough women in leadership positions where we can say, okay, yeah, we aspire to be like them, because we don't see that example, and we need to change that. We need to have more mentorship and sponsorship. Women we as women, we really need to bring other women up. We don't need to be in the queen bee syndrome. If you don't know what the queen bee syndrome is, the queen bee syndrome is when a woman of a higher rank in leadership, she took her time to get to that role. She had to work her way up, but because she worked her way up to that leadership role, she's afraid to lose that role. What ends up happening is that the women that are working under her, their subordinates, she doesn't help them. She doesn't give them mentorship. Instead, she says, no, you got to take the same long way that I have to take to get to where I'm at. Because if she helps them, they're going to get to that role faster than she did. And we want to make sure that we help women along their journeys. Even if we're in a leadership position, we want to be able to do that. And by doing that, that means we should be, getting mentors and sponsors. And also a lot of times I've seen that when we're looking for mentorships, and men want to mentor women, sometimes in the workplace, people take that the wrong way. And then that hinders us from getting that mentorship from even really great male leaders. And I really want to put that out there, that for all of us, we really need to be here for each other, be strong for each other, and do that. And so this question really makes a lot of sense in knowing that not only we have role models, we just talked about our mothers, our grandmothers, people in our lives, people in history that we look up to, but also mentors. If you have had a mentor, how important has that impact been? So feel free to unmute yourselves and answer this question.
Well, I'll go. I know I just went before, but and I think Kat will love this. One of my mentors, early mentors in my career, was Dr. Muriel Howard. So she was the president of SUNY College at Buffalo, and that was my undergrad alma mater. She was an African American woman, and when I came into business early in my 20s, she actually said to me, "I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to help you." So she actually introduced me to board service, where I've been able to be on a number of amazing boards, chair boards, and even paid boards. Ladies, I want you to put that in there, because not only do you do volunteer boards, but there are times when you have the opportunity to get on private equity boards and paid boards. And then one of my mentors told me, use that as your play money. Use it as the money you use for yourself. So I took that too as well. So she was very instrumental in bringing other women around me, making sure I was accepted into the good old boys club, like what I was in Buffalo, New York. So the Buffalo Club, and the being a member of the country club, all those things that I probably wouldn't have had access to, or like Dr. Ghazi said, it would have taken me many years, but I was able to do those things and start those things in my 20s. And now here it is 20 years later, well, 25. I know I probably look young, but 25 years later, like some of you women, I can't believe you have college kids. But here we are, but I stand on her shoulders. So that one of my mentors, Dr. Muriel Howard, did just what we're talking about. She took my hands and she kind of pulled me along the way and made great introductions. And and I think that was amazing for my career. And then some of the things that I was really able to do, and not just the nation, but in the world.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Sandra. Anyone else? Please tell us about your mentors. We talked about role models, but talk about your mentors. Do you have them?
Go ahead.
Lucy, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Like looking back, I think my role models or my mentors, many of them are my teachers, like along my education. After I joined Pepperdine, Dean Williams, Dean Majidi, and also Dr. Miyake Trapp, like they're little nuggets that they, dropped, and I treasure them as gold. I remember I had one conversation with Dean Williams, and she said, I asked her, if you have the chance to give one advice to your 29-year-old yourself, what would you say to her? And she said, just be yourself, be authentic. And that line just resonated in me. And with Dr. Majidi, like I had him as my one of my professor during my program. There's just like so much wisdom that he shared with me. And with Dr. Miyake Trapp, what really influenced me was when she said, like, we have a lot of colleagues, we're all on this journey, doctoral journey, but it's not a competition. We cheer for each other, we're here for each other. And that's really changed my mentality. Like, I am not here to compete with anyone. I want to enjoy every second of my program, every second of what I am doing here. So, so like those little nuggets, like really empowered me to move forward. So that'll be my answer.
I love that. I love that. And yes, shout out to Dr. Miyake Trapp and all of our amazing professors and faculty and staff at Pepperdine. You're all amazing, and it's great working with all of you. Definitely wanted to put that out there. One thing that I wanted to say as I'm listening to all of you talk about your role models and mentors is you just said something, Lucy, about talking to Dr. Our former dean, Helen Easterly Williams, talking to her and, asking her that advice, and Dean Majidi, and then in the chat too, Linda talking about, Dr. Miyake Trapp changing my life forever and creating spaces. And I want to say this to everybody listening, because I know that sometimes we as women can be a little bit fearful of asking for what we want. And if we say, we want these opportunities, please create space for us. Help us to create these spaces. And literally we get out there and ask. Trust me, those doors will open. We're afraid sometimes to ask because we're afraid of the rejection. We may be afraid of getting no. As women, we probably feel like, okay, how are we going to break that glass ceiling? How are we going to like lift ourselves up? So I want everyone listening today to think about this and to know that if you want an opportunity, please go and ask. Don't be shy. Talk to people, ask, say, I want this opportunity. How can you help me create this opportunity? How can you help me create these spaces for me? It's not selfish to ask that question. I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I can go next.
Yes.
So this was interesting because it's so beautiful to see that both Linda and Lucy have a lot of love for Dr. Mayaki Trapp. It made me go back to like really the first mentor that I ever had, that pretty much set the course of my entire future. She was the seed, she planted the seed. But I honestly, it's beautiful to hear a lot of folks express their gratitude towards their mentor. I don't think this person knows how much of an impact she made on me, which is I didn't actually think about it till right now. But yeah, her name is, and she still works at the same institution. But at the very beginning, when I was in community college trying to figure out what I wanted to do for school, it was my first time on my own. I am a twin sister. I have a twin sister, so I never experienced a day of being on my own in school until college. So I was terrified because she ended up going a different route. So I was terrified of the world in community college, and I was in an EOP program, and she was my counselor, Alma Luera, that's her name, at LABC. And so I would meet with her, and I was so timid and so scared, but she was like, Ash, like you can do this, and what do you want to do? And she was the one that suggested that I could be a really great counselor. She pushed me, she supported me, she was honestly just like the biggest champion, and she would introduce me to people. And then eventually I was able to transfer out to CSUN, and then we ended up losing touch. But really, she was the foundation that gave me the confidence to step into my voice, to feel comfortable in new spaces, because otherwise I think I would have probably just gotten an associate's and then called it a day. But instead I transferred, and then I went to get my master's because she's like, you can be a counselor, all you need is a master's degree. And she played it so lightly that I was like, oh, you can do it. But yeah, she's definitely one person that I think about often, but I don't know if she knows that she really made that big of an impact on my overall journey. But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Ash, for sharing. And I was just going to say what Dr. Mayaki Trapp just said, and it's like, go tell her. So go look for her. Find out if she's still working at that community college. Go look for her. And if she's retired, look her up online, because today there's the magic of Facebook, Instagram, and background checks. Background checks are amazing. I've had to do background checks on some men, so yeah. So, listen, I have stories on that, but there's those ways. So find her so you can tell her that. And if you can visit her, if she's still on that campus, that would be awesome, because I think you need to do it. So it's funny because Dr. Mayaki Trapp just said in the chat what I was thinking in my head, and I'm like, I'm going to tell her this after she finishes. So yes. And CSUN's my alma mater. Yes, we are alma maters from CSUN. Woo! Okay, did I miss anybody else?
I can share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that, models and mentors are just so invaluable. I know for me, like fundamentally, shaping my role as just a person, not just professionally. I have always been like a visual storyteller, really passionate about photojournalism and social justice, and wanting to make a positive, systemic impact and contribution. And so when you mentioned, just not being afraid and just being able to ask, I mean, that's a really, I think, big component of it. So I did that, and I feel really honored to have received guidance and mentorship from Dana Gluckstein. She's like an award-winning photographer and advocate whose work has been featured in like traveling exhibits entitled, Tribes in Transition in museums worldwide. She created the tipping point for the Obama administration to adopt and sign, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples in 2010 through her 30-year span of stunning work and photography of Indigenous peoples, and her book, entitled Dignity. And she was the best role model, I think, for me on how to honor storytelling as a means for collective impact, and through her guidance, she's really shared with me how essential it is to honor your purpose and your passion, to trust your intuition, how to follow your calling, and how creating meaningful and deep impact, takes time to stay with it, to follow it through the ebbs and the flows of life, and how to powerfully be able to align like a photograph, a message, a story with policy and advocacy for marginalized individuals and communities. Also, how important, it is to integrate motherhood as often as you can, even as a working professional and creative, by taking your children on the journey with you and including them in the process, which for me just created such a long, meaningful, impactful, I think, trajectory on myself and on my spirit. It's so important, I think, to visually see what it looks like for an individual to be able to balance all these things and to know that it's not easy, understanding the dynamic of building a lifespan of work, and also which takes, decades to shift consciousness and have an impact, especially in our like sort of instant gratification world that we live in. So yeah, for me, I want to say that's someone that has had such an instrumental voice in terms of, my career and how I look at the world. And I'm so grateful for that. It's someone I would never think I would have access to, and to be able to have soulful conversations and over time and really build a relationship has been so meaningful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Monique, for sharing that. Thank you, everybody, for answering and sharing your thoughts on this question, because it's so important. Yeah. Did everybody answer this question? I just want to make sure all my panelists answer this question.
I want to give a shout out to my mentor. And she's in New Mexico. I think she's in New Mexico. I'm kind of like Ash. I don't know. It's been so long since I've spoken with her, and so you've inspired me, Ash, to reach out to. Her name's Dr. Enadina Vasquez, and she pushed me to become a school psychologist way back when my children were young, and she was so empathic. And under, at the time I was a single parent and my children were very, very little. And she said, why are you not going into school psychology where you have your summers off and you'll be able to be with your children? And just being understanding of that and being able to push me to say, you know what, you can do more and you can keep doing more. And I think that was the biggest uh, thing that I needed at that moment. And I think Ash, you and I need to reach out and let them know where we're at now. I think they look exactly. Yes.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. So a lot of times what we're at our workplace, and we have certain leaders and managers that really inspire us and motivate us, especially for us being able to look up to them. We want to have leaders that we're working with that we look up to, that we, that are making us feel like we're part of a team, right? Creating that whole team climate, making sure that they're listening to us, making sure we feel that we belong where we're at. And this question isn't just, maybe for the community, isn't just for the workplace, but just in general. I think this question is really important, and that is, can you share an example of how an inclusive leader has impacted your life or your career?
I can go for this one.
Yes.
It kind of falls along the mentorship line of her name's Rachel. That's at the place I just started at. She is the CAO of the school, and just seeing in the way that she leads, it inspires folks, and the relational aspect to her job, a lot of student facing, a lot of going downstairs to talk to our direct students while they're in class, sometimes pulling them off to the side to have conversations, addressing needs. She has really just taken it upon herself to, outside of her designated responsibilities, just take on all these other things that she does to keep us just afloat and happy, and just seeing the difference that it can make in creating an environment that we work in where we really feel included in part of our processes. We are empowering each other to do so. We're empowering our students to do so when they walk out that door and get those certifications done. It really has just been such a like, I'm in awe when I see her just like lead in spaces, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to be like you when I grow up, like you, badass woman in the space, and an inspiring way to lead folks ultimately.
Yeah, that's so true. I love it. Inspiring. What did you just say? Inspiring the way? Say it one more time. You said inspiring leaders.
Inspiring leaders. I said a few things about inspiring the leaders, inspiring the folks, inspiring the students. It's just a very unique of seeing her just interact with the whole space, truly, even in meetings. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. You can actually speak out in spaces like that, because I do think that there's still some of that, like I'm building that confidence in spaces where I'm like, oh, right, like I am in a doctoral program. Let me share that with folks. Because when I'm in the work zone, I'm like, I'm fully just in work. And the moment I step out, I switch gears and I'm like, okay, now I'm a full-time student. So in that workspace, I lose some of that. And so she's kind of also like helped me to remember that. And so when I'm making my introductions to partners, she's like, oh, and say you're in a PhD program, right? And it's like, right, yes, I am in this.
Yes, I love that. I love that. See, she's telling you, she's trying to set the way for you because that's what you had said. The leaders that inspire you to, and lead the way. And that's what she's doing. Don't forget to see your PhD. Yes. Amazing. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, well, actually, I can relate because I'm really not good at introduce myself. And like for a lot of times, I just feel like, okay, I'm a student, you don't have to know me. It's okay. But for many, many times, my team, Dr. Miyake Trap, like when we're doing the introductions, and she will rephrase it for me. And for a lot of times, I don't know, should I add this part or that part, like to which extent should I say? But gradually, I understand it's important for me to repeat who I am, what I am doing, to introduce myself to others, to let people know. So I think that is still a learning journey for me, but yeah, but that is like a turning point for me, like to really see, oh, this is what I'm doing, and also reflect on that.
I love it. This is what I'm doing and to reflect on that. Yes. Yes. You gotta get yourself out there. You gotta keep putting yourself out there. You gotta keep introducing yourself, right? Yeah. Yeah. And having leaders that inspire you to do that is amazing, right? Like Dr. Miyake Trap. All right. Anyone else? Jennifer, I see you thinking.
I am thinking. You know what? I really thinking about the different people that I work with on a daily basis, and I work in special education, and so we're all about inclusivity. And if you're not inclusive, there, then you need to see the door. And it's not always that easy. Not everybody's always on that bus with you to be inclusive. And so I was just thinking about the assistant principal that I work with, and she's just amazing. And she will stand up and she will send that email. She will have that conversation with that person and stand up for our students and for our parents. And so I really admire her, and I've learned so much from her to be that person to open that door for not just for myself or us adults, but also for our children that are coming up and learning about what inclusivity is, because we have to teach them. We have to teach, we have to continuously show them that that's what it's about, and giving them that power.
Exactly. Exactly. So true. And Dr. Sandra, you are the leader of leaders, as you say. So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's important to, again, as we talked about being worthy, and I love how everybody's talking about really, and Lucy, like, yes, let me talk about who I am. Let me be who I am. Dr. Helen Easterlin Williams is right there, pushing us and giving us these great affirmations. She actually does a welcome in our program, and she's just, I think Lucy, you were there, weren't you? Were you there, Lucy? Yes, we remember that, Lucy. We had a moment, but it was so empowering. And what
Yes.
I think, as far as leaders and being a leader to leaders, because again, I own that that is my calling. It's a part of my mission, because it's like, who takes care of the leader that takes care of everybody else. And so then, as women, I think we can take that same sentiment on, like, we're all leaders, but who takes care of us as we're taking care of everyone else? So my goal, my mission is to be a stand for women, for leaders, as other women have been for me and for us, as we're talking about. And so that's the sentiment of that, Dr. Ghazi.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when we're leaders, you're right, who's taking care of us? And so it's really
Yeah.
important to understand that, to find leaders that we can look up to who can help to take care of us, so that as we're leading others,
Yeah.
we can help take care of them. And it's just going to be like that, um, the rippling effect. I
Yeah.
think you
And that's
mentioned
another thing. And receiving, because we're not always, I don't know about you ladies, but that is a constant learning for me, to receive, because we give so much as leaders, as women. Everybody talked about how many hats they're wearing at all times: students, doctoral students, wife, mother, working, everybody that, we have stewardship over. So, I think what I like to practice too, and even push myself, is receiving the grace, receiving the love that people are there. So, and Dr. Ghazi, you said ask. Like, I always tell people this: people are so generous. If you just ask, you would be shocked at what you could receive and what you can get access to by just asking. But I think, again, we also have to be able to receive. And that's powerful, to be able to receive when, you're such a giver. And I know we all are. So I just wanted to add that too.
very true. And I love what you added and said, because we don't always receive, right? We like to give. And as women, we also need to be open to receiving. And I want to add celebrating. We don't celebrate ourselves enough. This is part of my 4-step model on overcoming imposter syndrome. We need to celebrate. Part of self-care should be celebration. Anytime
Yes.
anytime we accomplish something big, small, whatever we do, any kind of work we're doing, celebrate it. Right? Anyways, I digress. Thank you so much, Dr. Sindra, for that. Any of our other panelists want to answer this question, or should we move on to the next one? Because I am looking at the time and it is 6:37. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Let's see. I'm going to have 2 questions. If we can all answer this in about 1 minute each, we're going to do that. How do you celebrate National Women's History Month? It's a fairly easy question to answer, I think. How do you celebrate it?
I can start it off. I'm really active with my organization. We have several ERGs, so employee resource groups. we have a women's resource group, and then we also make sure that any month we're celebrating that there's folks involved in sharing and giving their perspective of things. So every year we have big campaigns. I'm involved on the women's campaign. So we share out women that have made a significant difference in history, our own mentors. We host events, provide safe groups where we just kind of talk about work when it's stressful. So yeah, that's what I do every year. It's always really fun. And then this year I'm on a panel, so great time.
Right? Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else want to answer?
I can go. So I celebrate women actually every day. I'm like a fierce advocate for women to support each other. But today I sent a note to all the women that I know, thanking them for what they do. Some of you on the panel did receive that and did reply back. So thank you for all that you do, for all the support. This is one of those things that you do. I host events and workshops. I connect women together to make sure that they know that there is help, and then they know that there are women that are willing to help and be mentors. I didn't answer the question about mentors because I didn't have a mentor. The books were my mentors. So I let women know because I didn't have it, this is how I seek. However, I want to connect you with other women. I also support women in different areas. Whenever they reach out to me, I always am ready to answer any question that I can give them, especially in the business side or on the corporate side or on the education side. Right now, I learn more about history. I get to learn whatever happened from last year to this year, and I learn about laws. It's very important to me, especially as I legislate for women's rights, to learn what laws happened. And this year has been very, from last year to this year has been very drastic for us women, because it's very important for us to know what our rights are. And it's very important for us to educate ourselves, because we need to make decisions for ourselves, not the other way around, not the other gender. We need to make decisions. So we need to be informed. I also volunteer in many different causes for women's rights, for women's shelters, and I am part of 3 different nonprofits. They do a lot of donations, which is great, and these donations go to different. One goes for education, one goes for women businesses, and the other one goes for outside the country for a school. So these are some of the things that I do.
Nice. I love it. I love all that you're doing, Inva. You are very inspiring. Ever since I met you, I've always seen you just really be an advocate for all of us, for women, and just connecting and inspiring. Thank you.
I like to say I'm practicing how to celebrate the little big wins. So reflecting and sitting with personal achievements, taking a moment to kind of just celebrate those things instead of checking off the box and being like, great, pat on the back. What's next on the list? But also just engaging in community events, trying to educate folks. And what I tend to do the first Monday of National Women's International Month, I will bring to work or wherever it is that I'm at, like roses, and I give out a rose to every woman in the workspace or school space.
Oh, I love that. You give out like a rose to every woman in the workspace. I love it. That, that will make anybody feel special when they receive it. Yeah, such a beautiful practice. Monique?
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say, I celebrate with gratitude, really, just by saying thank you and showing appreciation for the women in my life who have guided and nourished me and loved me, showing gratitude for those who have gone before to create the opportunities that I have today, as a result of their dedication, but also to celebrate the accomplishments of contemporary women, whether that's purchasing a new book or going to see a play or a film or supporting a women-led business or visiting a museum, to recognize the role women have in society, just finding ways to celebrate other women and their meaningful work that are doing in communities, again, through volunteerism, workplaces, and around the world, and just also celebrating everyday women, like my mother, who's an African American entrepreneur who continues to reinvent herself at the age of 70, in big and small ways. I think the recognition of the victories and the lessons and the women that have brought us here and those that are still championing, with us now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Our last question before we open it up to the audience. So that question is this: looking forward, what are your hopes or predictions for the future of inclusivity? What changes would you like to see in the next decade to make our society more inclusive? And just put that question in the chat. So again, tell us, what are you looking forward to? What are your hopes or predictions? And what changes would you like to see in the next decade to make our society more inclusive?
I can start with that one. I would love to see more women at the table in board seats, private equity, corporate boards. I would love to see more women in leadership across the world. I think we have so much to offer, and although right now those percentages are low and much lower than they should be at this point, we are women who will pave the way. And over the next 10 years, I would love to see again a meteoric rise and women at the table.
I love it, and I agree with you. We need more women at the table, in the boardroom, in executive leadership positions. We need more women up there. Absolutely.
I would like to echo that. And because I want to talk a little about laws, so we can be more informed, I would say the equal pay laws, very important, right? We need to be paid equally. The anti-discrimination laws, they still exist. I mean, if we're talking about it, they still exist. The paid family leave, the US has the lowest paid family leave. So these are the things that we can look forward and change them as women. The Affordable Child Care Act. Again, we're women, we give birth. We need to have that right to have affordable care so we can be here, right? And we can make that change. These are some of the things that I look forward to and some of the things that I legislate for.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. There's a lot of policy changes that need to be made for women. The changes that we're seeing today obviously are not favorable for women, and we want to change that so that they become more favorable. Absolutely. Thank you for reminding us of that.
I'd like to jump in and go off of that because I think, it is an election year. And my daughter's 24, and she's all of these different laws that are being put into place or being removed and things like that are really, yes, they're impacting us, but they're impacting our next generation of women and really inspiring them. And so, within the next 10 years, I'd love to see just more of that empowerment, for young women and for those, yes, who are ahead of us and who are ready to, be the next ones of us for us to be able to inspire. And I wholeheartedly agree with you as far as, knowing our laws and really understanding, where we stand and where we can be in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
I would say promoting awareness and understanding of diversity and equity. That would probably mean incorporating diverse perspectives into the school curriculum and in our policies for schools as well.
Yeah. Sounds like policies are kind of like the theme here right now for this question. Yeah.
At an earlier age, the better.
Exactly. Monique, Lucy, Ash, any of you? Yes. Ash, yes.
I can jump in real quick. I was muted because my dogs are barking, so if you hear them, sorry. But yeah, I think for sure policy it's the foundation. Definitely gives a lot of opportunity moving forward. But to offer a different perspective, going back to kind of that mentorship, I really hope to see more of these like open spaces, dialogue, mentorship opportunity, mentorship programs or spaces for women. Because as we all have seen in our personal lives, it's so impactful and it can really make a difference to getting to that next step. I think there's a lot of women that have the potential and just need that like permission, right, to step in and someone to pat them on the side and say, you can do this, and they can do it. So yeah, mentorship programs and just spaces like this.
Oh, absolutely. Spaces like this for sure. And I agree, we do need mentorship programs. It's something that I would love to start with my institute too at some point, especially for women, because we do need that.
Yes, and I agree with you all, like what you just mentioned, and so I just want more voices to be heard, and also like more communities or built, so that we can share. We have a bigger platform, we have a bigger community to moving forward, to move together. So that would be something that I would love to see.
I agree with you. I agree.
Would add to that, my hope is that we really continue to create spaces for underrepresented communities and individuals to tell their stories, to be seen, for individuals to be supported. I work in philanthropy, and so I understand it's incredibly important to be able to fund, ideas for expansion and evolvement, for the benefit of inclusion, with community-driven, voices at the forefront. Most underrepresented groups, such as minorities and women, often lead NGOs and nonprofits, and really require that trust and the funding support to be able to help and shift change. So I think that's important. And then also, I would love to see just increased empathy, a society that leads with deeper cultural awareness, and sensitivity. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done in the spheres of poverty and racial injustice, and to really advocate for those, marginalized communities, and really just leading with like a sense of humanity, for one another, I think will really create more of an inclusive society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree with all of you. Everything that you've all just talked about today has just been so inspiring and powerful. And I just want to make sure that everybody get the chance to answer this question. Dr. Sindha, did you answer this question?
I think I answered. Did I answer that one?
Okay. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
everybody.
I think I did.
Okay.
I think I
I just
answered.
want to make sure everybody had the chance to answer this question. And I mean, it's so inspiring. I'm like, did everybody answer this? Did everybody get the chance? So since all of you have answered these questions, we've got such amazing like golden nuggets from each and every one of you. I am opening up these last 10 minutes for questions and answers from our audience. Please, I would love for all of you to open up your mics and engage with us. Let us know what your thoughts of our panel, what our panelists talked about today. And feel free to even answer these questions as well. Let us know who's inspiring you, who your role models are, who your mentors are, and ask us questions. Our panelists are available to answer at this point. So please.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Aasiyah Ghazi. I put a little bit description about myself in the chat. I'll be applying for the DBA, Doctor of Business Administration, hopefully for fall. Also, I have my MBA from Pepperdine, so it's a fabulous school. I've been involved in a few of the activities past week, the healthcare symposium, fabulous panel, associate dinner. Again, it was another great event. And I hope to see more integration of all of the departments of Pepperdine together. I have a multi-background in academic professional, but then I came across the Women's Life Freedom Movement of Iranian women last year. So then through the being an activist for this particular cause, I had a long list of female heroes, but I would say because of this experience, I would completely look at the women of Iran as inspiration. And I've been living here since childhood. And I thought, well, I use my background to help with that cause. So I've been invited to be part of the new opposition team for regime change in Iran. And that will be my focus of hopefully my thesis and topic for the Doctor of Business Administration. And I was wondering if any of the members, and I'll be talking to hopefully to Dean Majidi, hopefully, to introduce myself and trying to see how he would love to get involved with this cause. Is there anybody on the panels doing the PhD in the global leadership? I missed that. Oh, you are. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So I took a screenshot of all your names and I'll be connecting to discuss more. Thank you so much. It was absolutely brilliant panel and I hope to see you on campus in future. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Aasiyah, for responding and telling us a little bit more about yourself.
Yes. Well, I guess I could say it's a long resume. I had to just change it a little bit for my DBA program. That's why one of the professors in charge of DBA, we were discussing that. I have a background in science, research, healthcare, business, and law, paralegal. And through lifetime experiences, I've been involved in all different industry, and I worked overseas in London, in science and Imperial College of London. So I guess my whole life started with science and research, and it just because of through life experiences, I deviated into MBA business program, and then again through life experiences, I deviated into law. And then again, through life experiences, I got involved with this movement. And my major, I guess, if you want to know why I have this entrepreneurial mindset, and I study entrepreneurship because that was a new major that was introduced by MBA program at Pepperdine. So now I have to pull again all my resources together to present myself, why I can see that the future of leadership definitely it's the women, most of them on the table. And this applies not only just for Iran and Middle East, but globally. So I'm beyond thrilled to be in this panel looking at all of you as future leaders. So excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much, Aasiyah. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments for all of us, for the panelists?
I can ask a question.
Sure.
It's been just such an amazing panel, and just learning so much and also receiving, like, my goodness, what a blessing it is to be here this evening. I know we're talking about inclusive leadership, and if we could look really far down the road for women in particular, what is, let's say, we endeavor and we achieve the inclusion piece. Let's just dream, right? What is next for us? What do you see as being kind of the next front if we are included and we get those laws passed, like Inva said, where are we headed next as women leaders?
I think I'll answer that. One of the things that kind of that's a great question, by the way. And one of the things that just came to my mind is I think this would impact future generations of women. I can see little girls being empowered and not having to deal with some of the things we have had to deal with over the last 25, 30 years. And then we said our mothers, our legacies, our grandmothers, what they've dealt with over the last 50 to 75 to 100 years. But it will be a world where they have a level of freedom, I think, that is almost unimaginable. Like, I love that. It's just giving me energy just thinking about how empowering and how amazing the world would be with that type of, with that actually happening in the world and manifesting in the world.
Yeah, and Inva said world peace. Monique seconds what you're saying. And the level of freedom is yeah. And I think we all deserve that level of freedom. We need it. We need to teach our future selves about that.
I think the work-life balance would look very different for us if we're not so busy trying to fight the fight and we've moved forward past that and we're working on taking it to a global level at that point, really, our work-life balance would probably look very different. Our responsibilities as being partners and parents, etc., and then spending time with our grandchildren. I mean, I think it's going to look completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else have any questions?
I do.
Go for it.
So thank you so much for making this happen. Actually, I never thought I would move out from my country. I come from Tunisia, I'm North African, and I came initially to learn English, and here I am enrolling to psychology into Pepperdine. So it's been a great journey, and I'm really happy to represent Arab, African, Muslim women. And this has been so inspiring, especially after a long day. This definitely felt empowering. So the question I actually have two. The first one is, what do you think are very simple habits that we can do on a daily basis to go towards this inclusive leadership mindset? And the second question is, how would you balance out your life as a wife, mother, and leader? Thank you.
I can jump in. For me, I would constantly remind myself to speak up, to ask, and keep telling myself that I am worthy. I deserve the answer. I deserve the request. So at the very beginning, it was really hard for me to ask for help, but you just have to do it. Otherwise, nobody will hear it. For the second one, I would say, yes, we're putting like a million different hats on our head. But by the end of the day, we need to take care of ourselves first. Self-care, self-love. Like, for me, I try so hard to go to the gym, like to take care of my body, so that I can carry on what I'm doing. And also like give yourself grace. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a nap. And that is very important. Those little breaks can refuel you, and like you can gain energy and then to carry on. So I hope I answer your question.
I can go next. I hope I didn't interrupt anybody. All right, I can go next, Noor. Well, welcome and welcome to the Waves here. We're very happy to have you. I would say as a mother, as a wife, as a leader in my community, I see things and I explain things to people around me that when it comes to household things, right? As women in the cultural realm, we're the caretakers, right? So in my community and in my home, I started my home. First of all, I have two boys. Now they're grown up. They're 20, well, they're 19 and 21. I let them know that mom is mom, but mom also has a job. So if I'm home, don't look at me that I'm your cook, I'm your cleaner. I'm none of that. If it's a job that needs to be done at home, please take care of it. It's not a man's job or a woman's job. It's just a job. Take care of it, right? Let's all collaborate together. And because we are living together in this house, everybody can help. If the dishes are dirty, don't wait for mom to do it. You have that time, you have the half an hour help. How can you help? So that can change the mentality of the future men and women as well, that a job is, it's not a feminine job, it's just a thing that needs to get done. In my community, the same. When I speak up, when I'm in the meetings, when I speak up and I'm being interrupted, I let them know, please, may I finish? I heard your point, can I finish? Right? So those are the things that I implement. When I used to be in international meetings because of what I used to do before in my business, and I was never seen as the woman who was in charge in that meeting. They thought I was a secretary. They thought I was a note taker. They thought I was a hired help. Hired help is usually for companies when they hire somebody just to look pretty. I had to really assert myself and say, I am here. I am the person who you're going to deal with. It takes time and it takes guts, but you got to stand. You got to stand your own. A lot of times my voice shook, but you know what? I did it. Like even I was like shaking and sweating at the same time, but I stood there and I let those men know that I am here and I'm the person who you're going to deal with. I hope I can answer some of that questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just want to quickly let you all know. So it is 7:03. But I wanted to introduce Shata. Shata is on our panel. So Shata, can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself and also just let us know very briefly what inspires inclusivity in you? And then, because you're gracing us on our panel, she was actually supposed to be on our panel and she just came in a little late, but we're going to get her to just introduce herself and give us how she's inspired with inclusivity before we close. Thank you. Shata, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. I mean, this looks like I've missed something really special here. I'm sorry I had a scheduling thing here going on. I was trying to log in before, but I mean, there's so many things I've heard right now, and I can just see how this room was kind of like this very special place to share. I'm pretty sure you covered inclusivity probably by now, but so I am, just to give you a little bit myself, so I am from Saudi, and I'm based in UAE, Dubai. So I'm a student, a PhD student, and actually today is our day of submission of our comprehensive exam. So we just did our submissions just like a half an hour ago. So that was that's one thing. In my other life, so I am kind of the story that I was about to share to you is this: how I moved, how like this this change that happened to me that helped me kind of guide me to this next step, which is taking care of yourself, looking after yourself, and appreciating yourself. I just wanted to say that for me, inclusivity starts with you, allowing yourself to be at the circle that you are already welcomed in. Sometimes sometimes you kind of have these preconceptions on places or kind of cultural kind of concern is, can I be in this area? Can I be in this place? But I think, I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but the grace of you actually being able to carry yourself to that position or to that place is for me inclusivity, is that you including yourself. I think especially in some kind of regions or countries, women are expected to do a lot. Women are expected to kind of show up and also to kind of carry on with everything in their life. But I did have a comment on the idea, how do you manage it on your day-to-day life, which is, not everything happened at the same time. I feel like there are certain times in your life that you need to be somewhere, for example, being the student, being the mother. And I feel like this pressure of you having it all is a very kind of destructive way of looking at the possibilities you have and what you can do and where you can take them. My country is facing kind of a completely shift in culture and economy and business and how they perceived by the world. And I feel if I compare, for example, the old Saudi versus the old Saudi, I'm comparing two different countries. One thing is terminologies or the words that we use. For example, in the beginning, inclusivity was something that is very related to kind of a specific kind of people, like including kids or including, for example, a certain type of of group, for example, disabilities, determination, people of determination. But now inclusivity, it's become extremely kind of it really got extended to more than it is. I mean, it has to do with your perception of, as well. So including, for example, thoughts, including, for example, topics, including, for example, ideas, that's part of inclusivity. And I feel since today it's Women's Day, and we're all here kind of in honor of that. The fact that women are always kind of, again, juggling everything, that don't be afraid to be included. Don't be apologetic of where you are. You are there because you're supposed to be there. You are there because there's nobody else was at that moment who can do it. So feel empowered. Sometimes, like, I feel the idea is you need to be your own kind of cheerleader and move on, because who else can do it? Who else is capable of carrying on this except you?
Thank you for sharing that, Shanta.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I know it's 7:09. I wanted to let you all know. Thank you so much for being here today. Shanta, thank you for coming in and giving us some good insight about you and how you inspire inclusivity. And everybody else, thank you to all of our panelists today. Thank you so much for being here, for giving us your insights, your golden nuggets, just really teaching all of us how to inspire inclusivity, especially in this month of National Women's History Month and today for International Women's Day. I'm sure there's been so many events that have been happening throughout the day that all of you have probably been on. And I just want to say thank you for coming on to our event that we just had today with this amazing panel of women speakers, of women entrepreneurs, women doctors, women everything. We're all making our 20 million here, getting this doctorate degree. And I just want to say thank you to our audience. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Your questions today were amazing. Thank you for interacting with us in the chat. I want to say thank you to Dr. Miyake Trapp for coming on here today and for just really, helping us and gracing us with her presence and helping me with running the Zoom. Thank you to everybody. Yes, thank you to everybody for your wisdom and for everything. Very quickly, again, next week, I just put a flyer in the chat. Next week on March 16th at the actual West Los Angeles campus and online on Zoom for those of you who can't make it to the campus. We are going to be having an in-person hybrid dance session with 3 of my dancing friends. We're going to do belly dancing, Bollywood dancing, Latin dancing. It's going to be fun. There will be lunch that will be served, but it's to help us to see how dance can also inspire inclusivity, especially because it's global, right? We've got Latin dancing, we've got belly dancing, which is Egyptian and comes from the Arab world, and then we have Bollywood dancing, which comes from my world of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, right? So I wish I could get dancers from all around the world, and I can only get a hold of 3 people at this point, but we're gonna have a great time. I would love for all of you to be there. And we do have 2 other events coming up after that on March 19th. Tuesday, March 19th in the evening, we are going to be having a faculty staff panel discussion. So you will see our faculty and staff will be on. We will be asking them questions. Dr. Gabriela Miramontes will be the one who will be moderating our faculty and staff panel. And also, we are going to be having my friend Yasmin Kiswani. She is going to come on March 29th, Friday, March 29th at 5:30, and she's going to talk about traveling and how her work and her travels have inspired inclusivity in her life and how she can inspire that in all of us. So please sign up. The link was, if we can provide that link again, the Linktree link, sign up for these events. For the March 16th event, please email me. If you would like to register, just email me instead. We don't have the registration, for whatever reason, we don't have the event engage platform up for some reason. So just email me if you're going to come March 16th so that I know that you're RSVPing. All right. And if you have any questions in the meantime between now and then, please email me. And this recording will be available very soon. Thank you all so much for being here once again, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.